I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me. No, we're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all. We should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back. Starting from scratch, I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not, because I still believe you're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through, I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not, because I still believe you're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling out my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go. The only thing that I know, you were my gravity, but now I had to leave. I will let you go. Why do you think that I want? Why do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity. 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 I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me. No, we're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all. We should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back. Starting from scratch, I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not.
Warning: the Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here as we get ready to continue our race weekend from the Arizona Speedway in preparation for our fourth race of the playoffs for the NNSCRA Duracell Ultra Lite Series. We concluded our first round of the playoffs a couple of weeks ago at Dover. What was originally going to be 7 drivers advancing into this round saw a 3-way tie for the final transfer position, so we are instead in the round of 7, we are in the round of 9. That's right, only one driver was eliminated of the 10 originals at the conclusion of the race at the Monster Mile. 9 drivers still have a shot of advancing their way into the Final Four in the first season that we've ever implemented the playoff system in Lite's competition. Arizona Speedway kicks this thing off, and really in terms of the 3 racetracks these drivers have to deal with here in this round, this is maybe the most normal. Next race will be the wild card race at Daytona International Speedway, a wild card race in every sense of the word, and then we go to the historic Rockingham Speedway, where traditionally, track position has really been a key factor into whether or not you're going to have a good run or be kind of mired in the pack for most of the day. This is one of the racetracks where it brings about you being able to, in a way, determine your own fate and be able to work your way through the field while doing so. So you got to think that our 9 playoff contenders will be eyeing this particular race to win their way into a Final Four position. That's the case. You win here tonight, you're battling for the championship at Michigan, regardless of next time out at Daytona or at Rockingham. Cole Koibe, former winner on the season, back at Manassas, captures his first pole of the season, and we'll talk about our playoff contenders and where they start in a moment. Let's get the command.
Drivers, start your engines!
Haas Racing really strong in qualifying, as 3 of them will start in the top 3 positions. All 4 drivers will start in the top 8 spots in the lineup. Aubrey Powell, the highest starting of the playoff contenders. You see there your starting lineup right side of your screen. Playoff contenders highlighted in yellow. Cody Majoric, Cam Wright Jr., Colin Grace, Roberto Crown Jr., all up there towards the front and hoping to stay there. Might have an issue for Cole Koibe. Our pole sitter, yeah, he's down the apron. So right out of the gate, issues for the pole sitter rolling off of pit road. So that's going to move the entire inside line up a row, and Wes McCoy will be the unofficial pole sitter, as we'll try and get a diagnosis of what's going on with the 38. You gotta think that that's gotta be worrisome if you're any of the other Haas racing cars, as Koibe isn't even going to lead us to the green. He'll follow the Chevy Camaro pace car down pit road. And the first race of the round of 9 is underway. Green flag in the air. Wes McCoy, former winner on the season at Kentucky, another 1.5-mile racetrack, will clear Aubrey Powell and lead him into turn 1. keep tabs on if the 38 team can even get Koibe back out there. Or is this a terminal diagnosis for the driver that was slated to start this race from his first pole of the season? Wes McCoy is going to lead the first lap of the night. A couple of playoff drivers will be side by side. We'll actually make that nose to tail rather for second place. Cam Wright Jr. putting the pressure on Aubrey Powell. Now side by side as he'll find the left rear quarter panel out of the exit of turn 2, and Cam Wright Jr. looking to clear into 3 will do so. Look at the run as those two were side by side that Michael Turner, Reggie Fogelman were able to get. Roberto Crown Jr. there as well, and Aubrey Powell just like that, getting freight trained on that outside line. Michael Turner now up there, bit out of the groove through 1 and 2 as Reggie Fogelman will move into 3rd place. Teammate out of Trackhouse Racing, Roberto Crown Jr., playoff driver, follows him into 4th. Reggie Fogelman double dutying this weekend in that all-star car, the number 11. We'll see him tomorrow afternoon as he's already locked into the round of 8 on the Cup Series side. Oh, look at that. I don't know if that was a move to make a pass on his teammate or if that was a defensive block by Roberto Crown Jr. on Brody Kupski, but almost simultaneously the 18 and the 41 dove down to the inside going into the entrance of the first corner. And now Colin Grace will jump in behind Roberto Crown Jr. Colin, who already locked himself into this next round of the playoffs with a victory in the first playoff race back at Road America. We had 2 playoff drivers go to victory lane in the first 3 playoff races in that first round. Cam Wright Jr. was the other one. Last time out, the winner at Dover. So coming in with a lot of momentum here into this second round of the playoffs and trying to close up here on Wes McCoy for the top position. Bonus points could be crucial into whether you're advancing into the Final Four or not. And Cam Wright Jr. would love to get one of those said bonus points for being out in front and leading a lap. Reggie Fogelman's going to get to his inside here, though. And Fogelman is going to go into the runner-up spot as he should be clear off of 4. Reggie Fogelman trying to be the first driver. We've already documented this numerous times, but trying to be the first driver to pick up a Cup Series win first and then a Lite Series win. We've had a driver pick up a Lite Series win, then a Cup Series win. That being Eric Monaco, who, of course, was the defending champion of this series from 1 season ago. We saw him go to victory lane earlier on in the playoffs on the Cup side as Cam Wright Jr. passes Fogelman back. And here comes Roberto Crown Jr. now. Cam Wright Jr., Roberto Crown Jr., those two have been just about everywhere at the same time all season long. Those two were battling it out for the regular season championship. They're both now trying to advance their way into the Final Four. And behind them, you got a battle going on for 5th place. That's Brody Kupski trying to hold off Craig Batson. Craig, a former winner this season back at Texas. Brody still looking for his first win of his Duracell Ultralight Series career. Nathan Stapleton right now holding down the 7th spot. 2-time winner on the season, including during the playoffs at Nashville Super Speedway. And Aubrey Powell has finally gotten to the inside line here. Got shuffled from 2nd all the way back to 10th. Side by side right now with Michael Turner. There's Jordan Anderson right behind her. Anderson, the only playoff driver that got eliminated last week, as 9 of the 10 original drivers all moved on here into the second round of the playoffs, including Skylar Taylor, who was involved in that 3-way tie for the final transfer position. Cody Majorek was also in that three-way tie, so new life breathed into those drivers' opportunities here. Skyler right now in 13th, trying to close up here on what's a battle, I believe, for... Well, actually now 11th for Skyler. This was a battle for 9th place. Ooh, was there contact right there between the 71 and the 02? I think there might have been. Powell nearly got turned right there, courtesy of Michael Turner. I mentioned about the fact the ability to pass here is a viable option. And case in point, Ralph Mason started this event from the 27th position. He has picked up 10 spots since the drop of the green flag. Actually, correction, make that 13 spots, as he's now up to the 14th position. Sean Galligan, who started shotgun on the field. Juan Garcia, who started one position better. They were 28th and 29th. They are now up in 19th and 20th, so there is the ability to pass here. Some drivers, though, that are fading back, specifically some playoff drivers. Cody Majorek now back here. I believe this is the 26th position he's currently running in, so we'll keep tabs on him. He's in 25th. Destin Bolin, we'll see him tomorrow in the Cup Series, as he's the cut line driver, 8th in the standings, heading into that elimination race, getting some extra track time here tonight. David Dixon and Nathan Fogler right now, the last drivers in this pack on the lead lap. Cole Koibe is back in the race after we saw him have to come to pit road from the pole, but he is just ahead of the leaders, in danger of going a lap down. They got him out on the tail end of the lead lap. He was hoping for a quick yellow to be able to cycle back to the tail end of the field. Now he is in danger of losing a lap to the race leader, which is Cam Wright Jr. Cam just got the lead a couple of laps ago from Wes McCoy. Valuable bonus point for the 95 car. And Roberto Crown Jr. slipped right on through to second place. So those two playoff contenders rekindle their rivalry, going all the way back to the beginning of this season. And now, how long can Cam Wright Jr. wait to get around Cole Koibe? As Burt Crown Jr. closes up the gap, I believe. Yeah, I don't think they would have made a four-tire pit stop there for Cole Koibe without him going a lap down already. So whatever the issue was, maybe if it was just like one issue with a tire, they may have changed just that tire only, or maybe that side's tires. So there wouldn't be much of a tire advantage for Cole Koibe to try and, to hold off these drivers, as here comes Roberto Crown Jr. Gets a run to the inside of Cam Wright Jr. They're going to drag race to the start-finish line. Cam will have the advantage by about a wheel, as Roberto trying to snipe that valuable lap-led bonus point. Got nice rotation through the center of the corner there. Good drive off, and the Beyblade Blast Toyota will take the race lead. Roberto Crown Jr. looking for his third win on the season. Former winners back at Sonoma and Hanford. And Cam Wright Jr. says, not so fast. Closes the gap right back up again. As Cole Koibe looking up at the flag stand saying, please let there be a yellow flag, please. So those two battle. It's going to bring third, fourth, fifth along with them. Nathan Stapleton, Reggie Fogelman, Craig Batson starting to close up here. Wes McCoy, who started the unofficial pole sitter. Colin Grace back there. We could have a lot of drivers up in this lead group once again, and we're about to. Look at the run Nathan Stapleton was able to get out of 4. Right up on the back bumper of Roberto Crown Jr., and he'll duck low on the 18 going into turn 1. I think the biggest issue for both Cam Wright Jr. and Roberto Crown Jr., not only were they battling each other, but they're running in dirty air behind the 38. Neither one able to get that clean air to the nose, specifically through the center of the corner off. Look how when they reeled in Roberto Crown Jr. and freight trained him, now it's drifted him back to 5th. Colin Grace right there in 6th. Got 3 playoff drivers up here inside of the top 6. 4 of them in the top 10 as Stapleton's going to take the race lead. Aubrey Powell's right now holding that 10th position. Now we've got 8 drivers up in this lead group right now. Back to Wes McCoy. The other thing that's going to be interesting, I mentioned this, I believe, at least in the Lite Series qualifying session. I may have mentioned it in both Lights and Cup Series qualifying, that this racetrack is very well known for long green flag runs. Now, with that being said, pit road is going to have a part to play, more than likely, into the outcome of this one. Be interesting to see exactly what the fuel window is for these drivers, though, because the target lap would have to be somewhere around lap 40. If they have to pit before that, then it's a 2-stop race. But can they make it on 1 stop? We'll have to wait and see. This is the beauty of the double headers here with the Lights and the Cup Series drivers, is the Lights drivers now give us a little bit of a template of what to expect in terms of fuel when we eventually get to the Cup Series races, which do run longer. As Nathan Stapleton trying to get by Cole Koibe, can't do it. And look at the side-by-side stalling each other out, how that brings Reggie Fogelman right up to his back bumper. Craig Batson going to follow in line as well. Koibe's doing a good job of holding them off. I mean, that is not the situation you wanted to have. Getting ready to lead the field to green, your first pole of the season, and some untoward issue draws you to pit road right when the green flag is going to be dropped. Fighting to stay on the tail end of the lead lap here. Stapleton again looks to the inside, trying to put the 38 a lap down. It's like that outer groove is starting to rubber in, finding some momentum off of the corner. That's how Koibe's been able to keep Stapleton at bay for the time being. Stapleton, though, side drafting him on the front stretch. Looking at that launch on the inside line into the entrance of turn 1. And I believe he's going to have him cleared here off of turn 2. So Koibe puts up a valiant fight, but he'll now fall -1 to the race leader. Craig Batson will now move into 2nd place. Couple of blue ovals, 1-2. And now Roberto Crown Jr. is the highest run of the playoff contenders. He got around Cam Wright Jr., currently in 3rd. Remember, if you're a playoff driver and you win here tonight, you're locked into the Final Four to compete for the championship. Only 3 rounds here for the Light Series drivers as opposed to 4 rounds for the Cup drivers. They'll be halfway through their playoff run after tomorrow afternoon's race, the 2nd elimination race from the round of 12 to the round of 8. Cole Koibe now, after losing the lap, he's just kind of trying to find a place in line. Colin Grace now trying to get by his teammate. Colin right now in 6th. Think of it as, too, as now Craig Batson's actually taking the race lead here, looking for his 2nd win on the season. But think of it as, too, if you're a playoff contender, you know, you got 2 goals. Number 1, you want to win this race. You want to go into Daytona. You want to go into Rockingham worry-free, knowing that you're advancing into the next round of the playoffs. But if that's not to be, you also want to build yourself as much of a cushion as possible. You want to make sure that when you go into those wild card races, that one bad run is not going to take you from comfortably above the cut line, 4th in the standings, to below it and put you into a must-win situation when we get to Rockingham. So in the case here that we see for the 18 of Roberto Crown Jr., the 95 of Cam Wright Jr., the 27 of Colin Grace, this is perfect scenario for them. Yes, they're in the conversation for the checkered flag, but if they're not able to close out the deal, max points, or at least the most points you can get in the situation you're in. That is the goal for these playoff contenders. I mean, look at what we had for a situation back at Dover. Three-way tie for the final transfer spot into this next round of the playoffs. It comes down to that close. Every point, every position matters. And if you don't get the beginning of the round of the playoffs started out on the right foot, you find yourself almost in a state of panic, a state of desperation to get those positions back. And especially going into a track like Daytona, you do not want to be in a sense of desperation. So I think we got pit stops coming up here. Nathan Stapleton going to bring a bunch of them onto pit road, and this is around lap 30, so that's about the fuel window that we're looking at here, which means this will be a two-stop race. Craig Batson stayed out, like Brody Kupski also did, so did Jackson Haywood, Cat Batson, so all three of the KB Racing Enterprises Ford Mustang stayed out an extra lap. Must be getting some good fuel mileage as an organization, as Craig will now bring the Bobcat number 91 to pit road. Brody Kupski aggressive there on entry to close up some ground. There's Jackson along with Cat. Looks like Dave Smith, Autumn Brooks, and Mike Tellier also staying out here. And not sure. This could be where the race lead cycles around to, but I don't think it is. We'll have to check and see. Those may have been some drivers that came to pit road a little bit sooner. There's Nathan Stapleton in the 97. He was up there at the front when the cycle of pit stops began. He more than likely will be up at the front when it continues. We'll have to see where he is in relation to Craig Batson and the 91, who came to pit road a couple laps, well, one lap later than the 97. There is Craig just now leaving pit road on the apron, so Stapleton will cycle to the front. So it looks like the two-stop strategy is what we'll be going with here, and that final pit stop will probably be somewhere in the vicinity of 20 laps to go, somewhere around the lap 60 mark. Stapleton should go to the top of the board here on this lap, which indeed he does. Pretty sizable gap back to second place, which is going to be Roberto Crown Jr. Cole Koibe is a lap machine. How about Jordan Anderson? Great pit stop for that team as he'll cycle up to third place. The only one of the playoff drivers that started this journey and is currently the only one eliminated. Doesn't mean he doesn't want to find victory lane for a second time this season. Reggie Fogelman is right now in fourth, and Eli Bright will cycle up to fifth. So good pit stop for that playoff team. That's going to put 3 Trackhouse cars up inside of the top 5. Craig Batson, who went the longest of the front runners, is going to be 6th. Chris Dollerton is now in 7th. He just got by Cam Wright Jr. for that spot. Daniel Voiles battling with Cam for 8th place. And then Brody Kupski is right now in the 10th spot with Kyle Langland. So a couple of drivers doing really good there with the pit stops. Eli Bright and Kyle Langland, a couple of playoff contenders. There's Colin Grace just behind this as well. Currently in 12th position. So that is, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like 5 playoff drivers now up inside of the top 10 after this cycle of pit stops, with Nathan Stapleton currently a 2.5 lead back to the new second place driver, Jordan Anderson. He just got around Roberto Crown Jr. And both these two kind of drafting with the lap machine of Cole Koibe to get up there to Stapleton. And their lap times are much, much quicker than what Stapleton's running. Stapleton, the last time by, ran a 31.8. These drivers all ran in the 31.1s. So they gained 0.7 of a second on that lap alone. As a matter of fact, I believe all 3 of these drivers, yeah, all 3 of them just ran their fastest lap of the race. Jordan Anderson with a victory this season, advanced in the playoffs, got eliminated back at Dover in the first round. I say this a lot too. There's the heartbreak and the motivation when you get eliminated from the playoffs. The heartbreak and the fact that, man, you worked so hard all during the regular season and now your journey comes to an end, but the motivation is definitely still there because now it's one less thing that you have to worry about. You don't have to worry about points anymore. You don't have to worry about winning your way into the next round. You're able, in a sense, to kind of go into tunnel vision, and you are able to be a lot more aggressive in trying to finish out the season with more trips to victory lane. It's not a alleviation of pressure that you, by choice, have. Obviously, every driver wants to still have that pressure to have a shot at winning the championship, but it does give you more options in terms of what you want to do, in terms of aggressiveness to be able to pick up spots, in terms of maybe being a little bit outside the box in terms of pit strategy. When you're battling for a spot in the playoffs, specifically a spot to battle for the championship in these respective rounds, you have to maybe be a little bit more conservative, a little bit more by the book in terms of your strategy, because if you go a little outside the box, you could pay for it dearly. Really been impressed with Nathan Stapleton this season. You go back to last season, he's one of very few drivers that have run every single one of the Duracell Ultralight Series races. We've talked about, other drivers like Roberto Crown Jr., let's see who else fell in that category, Kyle Langland. There's a few drivers that have been here the entirety of Season 1 and now Season 2. But if you look at the progression of drivers, I think Nathan Stapleton kind of stands out to me the most. Last season, really struggled. Really struggled in that NS Racing Mustang. And this season, sticks it out, comes back, car change, team stayed the same, driver stayed the same. And it took him a little bit of time to find his footing even here this season. It wasn't until we got nearly to the end of the regular season at the Chicago Motor Speedway that we really saw him start to pick things up. He eventually found victory lane for the first time in his career. And then we saw him go to victory lane a few weeks ago for the second time at Nashville Super Speedway. So he has really done a great job in progressing as a driver. And if he comes back here in Season 3, keep an eye on him. I think we'd be talking about him as a driver to maybe get himself a very early spot in the playoffs. As Jordan Anderson's something to prove here, the only playoff driver that is no longer competing for the championship, now out in front after we saw him take the lead from Nathan Stapleton. Teammates will battle for second. A couple playoff drivers, Roberto Crown Jr. will hold off Eli Bright at least for the moment. Craig Batson will move into fourth, and Stapleton slips back into fifth. Talk about a driver that's got something to prove. How about Chris Dallerton? 23rd in points. Only 2 top 5s in the first 23 races. This is the inaugural Duracell Next Gen Cup Series champion. Wasn't able to find a full-time ride here in Season 8. Moves down to the lower series, and there's just not been any consistency out of this team. His teammate Michael Turner went to victory lane earlier on in the season at Las Vegas, but Dallerton looking here tonight to say, hey, I've still got it. And things are looking very interesting on the Cup side, I'll tell you that much. Silly season from Season 8 to Season 9 is going to be very interesting, and there are some drivers that we see down here in the Lite Series we could see making the jump up to the Cup Series. We've seen it happen before. Case in point, Eric Monaco made the jump up to the Cup Series for Lake Effect Autosport, as now Jordan Anderson loses the lead. Eli Bright going to get himself a valuable bonus point for a lap led here. Going to be the third playoff driver to lead so far tonight. But we saw Monaco move up to the Cup Series. Took a little bit of time, had to get his feet wet, but eventually established some good consistency, found victory lane at Gateway, And he is very much so in the conversation for Rookie of the Year as well, in a great battle with Summer Henson that we'll see continue here tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern to close out our race weekend from Arizona. Well, the speed for Cole Koibe is still definitely there. Laid down a banger of a lap to start from the pole position, had an issue on the start for just joining us, had to make an unscheduled pit stop off the grid, returned to the racetrack on the tail end of the lead lap, and he's been able to keep himself out in front of the leaders. We've run nearly 50 laps clean and green, which is the last thing that Cole Koibe wanted to see. If he were able to get a yellow, he would cycle around to the tail end of the field and maybe be able to try and make his way back up through to the front where he started. But he's been fighting to stay on the tail end of the lead lap pretty much this entire race. Let's find out where some more of our playoff drivers are running, as currently I believe we've got 3 of them up inside of the top 10. Make it 4 as Cam Wright Jr. is holding down that crucial 10th position. Cody Majoric is right now in the 14th position. Juan Garcia right behind him in 15th. Skylar Taylor in 16th place. Aubrey Powell, after starting on the outside of the front row, back in 19th. Kyle Langland is in 22nd. And I believe he is the last running of the playoff drivers, as Mike Tellier long ways back here in 28th. Looks like Autumn Brooks, Ralph Mason, Destin Bolin, Nathan Fogler, and Michael Turner all a long ways back. They would all be in the same camp as Cole Koibe, saying, give us a yellow so we can catch back up. Not sure how this fares for Destin Bolin here tomorrow afternoon, as he's going to be going into that race 8th of the 12 playoff contenders. He's on the hot seat. He's in that crucial 8th position in points. And right now, he's logging laps here, getting some extra track time, but not really the performance they were looking for out of this all-star car from Bishop Family Racing. Matter of fact, both the Bishop Family Racing cars not running well, with Tellier, last car in the lead lap, back in the 28th spot. About 9 laps away from when these drivers are going to have to make that crucial money stop, the final pit stop of the evening. And we know that Craig Batson can probably go a little further than some of the others around him. He went a lap further on the first cycle of pit stops. Eli Bright, I'm trying to remember when he came to pit road. I think it was at the same time that Nathan Stapleton came to pit road, which was 1 lap sooner than the 91. Right now, Nathan Stapleton's got the bonus point for most laps led, 17 laps out in front. One of 2 drivers that has led double digits, as Wes McCoy led the first 12. Nathan Stapleton, make that Eli Bright rather, when he comes around, he'll have led his 8th lap of the afternoon. Cam Wright Jr. has led 6, Jordan Anderson has led 4, and Roberto Crown Jr. has led 2. Get the run. Eli Bright's able to get there on Cole Koibe through 1 and 2. Looks to the inside here down the back straightaway. Let's see if he can complete the pass. Doesn't look like it, as these tires are wearing down. That inside line, not as much a viable option to be able to blow the doors off of somebody to complete a pass. Now he'll clear, but only with the aid of draft. Got that push from Chris Dollerton down the front straightaway, who in turn had Craig Batson behind him. And then when Eli moved up to the outside, Dollerton stayed low, and he's going to go to the point. Strong move there for Chris Dollerton. Talked about Reggie Fogelman. Dollerton trying to be the first driver to win a Cup race and a Lights race in that order. Eric Monaco's already been the first. He did it with a Lights win and then a Cup win. Well, we are looking to see who's going to be the first driver to do it with a Cup win first and then a Lights victory, and Dollerton could fit that criteria. Former champion on the Cup Series side. trying to complete the sweep for Michael Norman Motorsports, 2 drivers going to victory lane. It would be 21 races in between wins for that organization. Keep an eye on Colin Grace in that 27. Remember, you go back to Road America, first playoff race. What did Colin do? Went out and won to automatically lock into this round of 9. Could Colin do it again? First playoff race of this new round and lock in with a win into the Final 4. Certainly has a shot at it. Started 8th, currently in 3rd. Got a lot of drivers up here that have a shot. Colin Grace, Eli Bright, Roberto Crown Jr. back there as well. How about Daniel Voiles? We'll see Daniel tomorrow afternoon on the Cup side, battling to try and advance into the next round. Voiles going into that race with not that much of a cushion between himself and the cut line. I believe he's 6th in the Cup Series standings. But really good run here tonight on the Lite side. And this could be some good, valuable track time, valuable experience that he can apply in tomorrow's Cup Series race. Just got by Jordan Anderson to move up to P6. Everybody's bottom feeding right now. I think we're getting pretty close to some drivers coming to pit road here as we approach the 60th lap of this race. Let's see if any of our front runners come to pit road here on this lap, or will we be waiting another couple of laps here? Looks like most of the front runners staying out a little bit longer. Yeah, 2 Fords qualify inside of the top 10 here yesterday. And right now, you've got Fords running 1st, 2nd, and 6th. Along with Nathan Stapleton in 9th, so 4 of them up inside of the top 10. Dallerton's coming in this time. From the lead, Eli Bright also coming in this time, along with Stapleton. Cody Majorek back there, Wes McCoy. Jordan Anderson just completed a pit stop in the 89. He was running up there in the front, so might be trying to take advantage on some fresh tires there on his out lap. A clean pit road as well, a less congested pit road. You come down this early, should be able to make it the rest of the way. I mean, these drivers could have come down pit road around lap 50 and been able to make it the rest of the way. As Colin Grace will pit from 2nd. Batson will stay out an extra lap. Everybody's coming down here of this group. Looks like David Dixon will go a little bit longer, as will Cat Batson, Dave Smith, Jackson Haywood. Those were some of the drivers that stayed out long on the first cycle of pit stops as well, doing the same thing here on the 2nd round. I don't think David Dixon was a part of that group, though, so he would have been able to save some fuel on that last run to be able to go the extra lap with the KB Racing Enterprises Fords, as now Craig will come to pit lane here from the lead. When he hits the stripe, we'll be at 19 laps to go. Dixon's in. Looks like all these drivers are coming in. No, a little bit longer here for Dave Smith in the 15 and Jackson Haywood in the 93. So this will be the longest anybody has gone on a run in terms of fuel. Lap lead there for the Papa Dave's Chevrolet. And we'll probably see him and Jackson come to pit road this time by. Let's see how running long is going to translate in terms of track position for these drivers. I remember we mentioned that Jordan Anderson came to pit road sooner than everybody else, trying to take advantage of the undercut with tires. He cycled out ahead of Chris Dallerton. He might be the race leader. Once the pit stop cycle is complete, there's Craig Batson leaving pit road. I think the race leader is going to be driver 89. Question is, though, that 1 lap fresher tires behind him with Chris Dallerton. How much of a advantage is that going to be? Anderson's got the clean air. Certainly wouldn't think there's much in it, right? In terms of, well, I mean, We're going to have a little less than 20 laps to go here on this run. I don't know exactly where the delta is, where the tires start to wear a lot, and that one extra lap of fresh tires could maybe gain an advantage. Would there be a point closing stages of this race where we could end up seeing that advantage come into play? I'm not sure. Dave Smith still scored the leader, but now it should be Anderson to the top of the board, which indeed it is. And look at the landscape of the top 5 now. Not a playoff driver to be found, as you've got Anderson the leader, Dallerton in second, Stapleton is third, now Colin Grace is fourth, the only driver in the top 5, with Craig Batson in the 5th position. So Colin Grace, if he's not able to win this, he's going to have some really good points over the rest of the competition going into Daytona, that's for sure. Eli Bright is the second highest running playoff driver, cycling to 6th. Daniel Voiles in 7th. How about Cody Majorek? That team put together a lightning fast pit stop as he's up to the 8th position. 9th place is going to be Cam Wright Jr. and Juan Garcia, who started this race from 28th. That was nearly dead last, is going to be the top 10. So that is 5 playoff drivers inside of the top 10 right now. We just had an exchange for the lead. Dallerton got back around Jordan Anderson with less than 14 laps to go. And opening up some distance back to the 89 right there. We don't normally see a driver be able to scamper away, especially with how prevalent the draft is, but Dallerton trying to do just that. Here comes Nathan Stapleton and Colin Grace, 3rd and 4th, closing up on the top 2. Last time out, we saw Colin Grace go to victory lane for the 3rd time this season. Stapleton and Grace, 2-time winners in their own right, would like to join him for most wins here in Season 2. For Jordan Anderson and Craig Batson, 2nd and 5th, they're looking for their 2nd wins on the season. And for Chris Dallerton leading, he's looking for his 1st career victory here in the Lite Series. Right now, I don't know if 6th place on back have a shot of getting up here to the top 5. Bright, Majorek, Voiles, Cam Bright Jr., Juan Garcia. Right now, scoring is showing them about 9/10 of a second. Actually, more than that. It's now increased to 2 seconds behind 5th place, which now is going to be Jordan Anderson. Well, maybe if these drivers keep battling the way they're doing right now. Batson just got around Anderson. Grace gets around Stapleton. These drivers back here stay single file. They might have a shot here. They're saying, hey, keep racing it up. Batson now going to go to the inside of Colin Grace, and that's going to slow this group down even more with the side drafting. Side drafting does not make you faster. It makes the car you're battling slower, and in turn makes you both slower. Let's check the interval this next time by, see if that 2-second gap got closed up at all. Have to think it certainly might have. Was 2 seconds, now a second. They gained a half a second right there. Did Eli Bright and company. They're not out of it. They still got a shot here as we hit the line for 10 laps to go. Colin Grace is now into 2nd, trying to close in on Chris Dallerton. For Dallerton, it's his 1st win of the season. For Colin Grace, it's an automatic ticket into the Final 4 to compete for the championship at Michigan. More importantly, it's going into Daytona. It's going into Rockingham, knowing that you are locked in to the final round of the playoffs to compete for the Season 2 Duracell Ultra Light Series Championship. Looking at lap times here, Colin was 0.2 of a second quicker. And reeling in that 40 car pretty fast. Plenty of time still to work with as well. Eli Bright and company have caught. So Bright, Voiles, Majoric, I would say don't even count them out of maybe winning this race. Strong enough car, manipulate the draft, you could pass 5 or 6 cars here in these final 7.5 laps. Craig Batson now to the inside of Jordan Anderson, that's for third. Batson will complete the pass. Stapleton a little held up there on that line behind Anderson. Here comes Eli Bright and Daniel Voiles. Nose to tail for these 4 drivers. 4th, back to 7th. Colin Grace is still reeling in Dollarton, but not as fast as I thought he was going to. He's got the gap closed up to about 4 car lengths, but he might have hit that window where he's hitting that bubble of dirty air. Dollarton doing a lot of mirror driving right now, trying to keep that Exalted Toyota in the rearview mirror. He knows Colin Grace is going to fight him for it. But Dollarton has a lot less to lose than Colin does. There are going to be quite a number of drivers we're going to be talking about at the conclusion of this one going into Daytona. A couple of playoff contenders not going to have quite the runs they were looking for. Skylar Taylor back in 20th, Aubrey Powell back in 23rd. Laps continue to tick away, but I think they're not ticking away fast enough if you're Chris Dollarton, as Eli Bright will get by Stapleton for 4th. Daniel Voiles now putting the pressure for the 5th spot in the closing stages of this one. Saw a slightly different line run there by Colin Grace through 3 and 4, a little bit lower down towards that orange line, trying to get some clean air to the nose. Dollarton hits the stripe for 4 laps remaining here from Arizona. Mentioned about the stats for Dollarton coming into this one. 23 previous races, 2 finishes in the top 5, only 4 in the top 10. Average finishing position of around 17.6. Looking to become another different winner on the season. I'll be the first driver to win a Cup race and then a Lights race here between the Next Gen Cup Series and the Duracell Ultra Light Series. Oh man, that was a great turn too for Colin Grace. This may not be over yet. Colin Grace looking to advance into the Final 4 all over the back bumper of Dollarton. Colin Grace has found something, and now Dollarton has to play defense. 2 to go here from Arizona. Dollarton trying to back Colin up through the center. Colin's still there. Doesn't quite have the momentum, doesn't have the run to look to the inside this time through 3. Craig Batson and Eli Bright closing up. Do they have enough time? It's going to be 1.5 miles to go this time by. White flag in the air. Colin looking. Not there. Dollarton moves down to cover. If Colin's going to make the move, it's going to have to be here in turn 2. Backed off a little, tries to generate the run. Does Colin have it? Dollarton going to block the lane. Colin Grace looks low. Dollarton runs the middle. He'll get the momentum off the corner. Colin Grace isn't going to get there. Dollarton is going to deny Colin Grace's bid for the Final 4. Gets his first win of the season as he'll take it here at Arizona Speedway. First win of his Light Series career, the first driver to win first a Cup race and then a Light Series race. Completes the sweep for the Michael Norman Motorsports drivers. And Dollarton, after what's been an abysmal season, finally breaks into victory circle here on the Light Series side. Colin Grace was there, had a couple of runs, but just didn't have the continuation of the momentum on the straightaways to be able to make a move to the electric quarter panel. Going to be a great points day, but what might have been a golden ticket into the Final Four, now we'll have to look to maintain this gap back to the cut line for 2 more races beginning at Daytona. Race standings are official. Chris Dollerton with the win. Colin Grace, highest finish of the playoff drivers, in second. Great run for Craig Batson in third. Eli Bright will be the second highest playoff driver in fourth. Nathan Stapleton, great run in fifth. I believe Dollerton did get the bonus point for most laps led. 21 laps over the 17 laps previously led by Nathan Stapleton. Will complete the top 5. Cody Majoric with a great run in 6th. Playoff contender right there with Daniel Voiles, Jordan Anderson, Juan Garcia, and Cam Wright Jr. The top 10. Look at this. You've got Roberto Crown Jr. 11th, Kyle Langland in 12th. So that is 4, 5, 6, 7 playoff drivers. 7 of our remaining 9 playoff drivers that finished up inside of the top 12. Points are going to be really close still for those drivers. The 2 playoff drivers that did not fare well here tonight would be Skylar Taylor, who finishes in 21st. We'll be going to Daytona, where Skylar got the first win of the season here, and Aubrey Powell right behind him in 22nd. Those 2 drivers will certainly be down below the cut line, which is now 4th in the standings, and we're going to have it really, really close around that 4th in the standings cut line amongst probably about, I would say, 4 or 5 different drivers going into a wild card race at Daytona. It is going to be crazy. But congratulations to Chris Dollerton finally breaking into victory lane for the first time here in the Lite Series. And cannot wait to see what happens. We've got, I believe, another off week next week when the Cup drivers will be at Boston, and then doubleheader at Daytona for Lights and Cup Series in a couple of weeks. But hope you guys enjoyed this race here from Arizona. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, part of the crew today. We showed you full finish results, and you're now looking at your point standings going into next week. Or I should say into the next couple of weeks at Daytona. Be sure to join us here tomorrow afternoon as it's our second elimination race on the Cup Series side. We've got 12 drivers looking to advance into the round of 8. 1 driver has already done so. 7 drivers still yet to be determined. Green flag will fly for that at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to cap off our race weekend here from Arizona Speedway. But until tomorrow afternoon, or when we see you guys next time, you've been watching the broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, offline racing at its best.
The following has been a presentation of NNSCRA TV for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of the NNSCRA is prohibited. NNSCRA would like to thank all of our loyal fans, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.